Early findings into the turbulence on Singapore Airlines flight SQ321 have been released. It showed that quick and sudden uncommanded altitude changes likely caused injuries. There are also rapid changes to gravitational or G forces. More than 100 passengers were hurt. One died, likely from a heart attack. Here's a recap of what unfolded during those critical moments. SQ321 departed London's Heathrow Airport on the 20th of May with 221 passengers and 18 crew members on board. The flight was smooth before it hit turbulence. The aircraft was flying over southern Myanmar at 7:49:21 UTC, or Coordinated Universal Time. This was about 10 hours into flight. It was cruising at 37,000 feet. The aircraft likely flew over an area of a developing storm when turbulence began. This would have caused the jet to vibrate slightly. Around the same time, there was an uncommanded increase in the aircraft's altitude. The plane climbed another 362 feet. In response, the autopilot pitched the aircraft down to its selected altitude of 37,000 feet. The pilots also noticed an uncommanded increase in airspeed, or they extended the speed brakes to slow the plane down. A pilot called out that the fastened seatbelt sign had been switched on. Less than 10 seconds after that, the aircraft experienced a rapid change in G forces. Within 0.6 seconds, it went from plus 1.35 G to minus 1.5 G. As a result, passengers who were not belted in became airborne. In a split second, the G forces changed again from minus 1.5 G to plus 1.5 G within just 4 seconds. This likely caused the airborne passengers to fall back down. These rapid changes over the 4.7-second duration caused the airplane's altitude to drop 178 feet. During this period, the pilots disengaged the autopilot to manually stabilize the aircraft. They re-engaged the autopilot less than a minute after the first encounter with turbulence. The aircraft then returned to its original altitude of 37,000 feet. The pilots then diverted and descended to Bangkok Suvarnabhumi Airport after learning of the injuries on board. Less than an hour after the turbulence began, SQ321 touched down in Thailand. Singapore Airlines says it has acknowledged the findings of the investigation and is cooperating fully with authorities. The carrier also says the safety and well-being of passengers and staff are its top priorities. In a statement, SIA says it is committed to supporting those who were on board SQ321 during the bout of severe turbulence. It adds that this includes covering their medical and hospital expenses, as well as any additional assistance that they might need. And let's head over to Bangkok, where more than 20 people who were on board that flight are still in medical care. CNA's Wong joins us from Bangkok's Samiti Ve Srinacaran Airport Hospital. May, it's more than a week since that incident of turbulence. What can you tell us about the situation for injured passengers and crew?
When the Singapore Airlines accident happened, 71 people needed to be treated for injuries at 3 hospitals. As I speak right now, more than half of them have already been discharged, and only about 26 are still remaining in 3 hospitals. This hospital where I'm at right now, Samiti Ve Srinacaran Hospital, is the lead hospital that is treating majority of the patients. The hospital has often cited patient confidentiality in not divulging any information, but when they did so previously, they did mention that the youngest patient that they were treating was a 2-year-old, while the oldest was an 83-year-old. The good news is that the 2-year-old, from what I understand right now, who suffered from concussion and minor scrapes and bruises, well, that 2-year-old has since been discharged. Now, some of the injuries include obviously spine, spinal cord, as well as skull, as well as brain fractures. Now, all of these still are being treated at the hospital. From what I understand from family members, at least one person has actually been flown to Singapore to receive further treatment, while another, I understand, is a 2-month pregnant lady, and she has undergone surgery. It's about, I saw a picture that was shown to me by a family member. She had a scar on her back that is actually only about 20 centimeters long, and I understand that she is in pain. She's trying to refuse to take any painkillers for fear that it might affect the baby. And yet another patient I do understand, as well as having seen pictures, is that a halo brace has been attached. What this halo brace is, it's a ring that is actually attached to the skull with titanium pins, and that is supposed to keep the neck as well as the spine in place to prevent any further injury to the already traumatized spine area. So all of these patients are still trying to recover in this hospital. Obviously, a lot of them are hoping that they might be able to recover soon in order to head home, but you know that the recovery is going to be long, because it's not just about the physical well-being and the surgeries that could come, more surgeries that could come, but it's also about the after recovery from the physical aspects. We're talking about potentially post-traumatic stress counseling as well as physiotherapy, and that could last a long time. But at this moment, all of them are just praying and hoping that they will be able to leave the hospital soon enough, because they're also wanting to get back to work, because bills have to be paid. Families back home are still waiting for them. So obviously, all of these are going to be taken into consideration, and it's not just about quickening the pace, but it's also about recovery at that.
And thanks for that update. That was Wong reporting live to us there from Bangkok.